He also said, and has been discussing with Mr. Macron about the Iran nuke deal. And the president just said that they've had substantive discussion about that Iran nuke deal. David Rubin is with us. Now, he knows a lot about America, Israel, and our relationship and the relationship with Iran. David, welcome back to the program. Good to see you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Now, during that tape, the tape there, you and I were talking, and you say that the hostilities have already begun between Israel and Iran. Already started?
Yes, they have.
Tell me.
Well, up until this point, in recent years, it's been Iran supporting Hezbollah, the Hezbollah terrorist organization in Lebanon, and they've been supporting Syria, in Syria, obviously, Assad, and the Hamas in Gaza. So basically having Israel surrounded, but through these surrogate terrorist organizations. But now what has been happening in recent months, in past year or two, is that Iran is ensconcing itself in Syria. There are Iranian military bases in Syria with the Iranian Revolutionary Guards. And Israel has already launched preemptive strikes against them. Now, it's not the preemptive, the big preemptive strike that we've been talking about against the Iranian nuclear program in several sites in Iran. But what we're talking about, what's actually happened, and just happened about a week before the American strike, is Israeli strikes on Iranian military bases in Iran. Excuse me, in Syria.
In Syria.
But it may be a harbinger of what is to come.
Now, President Macron and President Trump are discussing the Iran nuke deal. President Trump wants to rip it up and leave. President Macron wants us to stay. He wants some way of fixing the agreement so that we stay in it. Now, I know that you and Israel oppose this nuke deal. You want it gone. But is there a fix, any kind of fix that you can think of that would keep us in and you'd be happy with it?
No. But there is a longer answer. There are certain things that could be done to make the nuclear deal better. Okay, they could have a better inspection regimen. Right now, the inspection authorities can't just come in. They can't just go in and inspect all of the Iranian nuclear plants. That is not allowed in the agreement. So things like that can be changed and can be improved. It would make it better. However, that doesn't mean that they're not going to be going full force ahead with their nuclear program to the extent that they're allowed within the agreement. And ultimately, at the end of those 10 years, and 10 years is a very quick amount of time in the scheme of history, they are going to have a nuclear bomb. So I predict that Israel is going to continue the preemptive strikes on Syria, on the Iranian plants in Syria, because there is no way that we can allow that. It's right over the border.
Understood.
I'm sure that Macron would not allow military bases of a hostile country that says it wants to destroy France being just miles away from the Eiffel Tower. I'm sure he wouldn't allow that.